In the next few minutes, I'm exposing 12 Canadian soup brands hiding excessive sodium, synthetic additives, and questionable ingredients behind comforting imagery and nostalgic packaging. Plus, I'll reveal the 5 brands that actually deliver real nutrition without the chemical baggage. Stay until the end, because number 1 will change how you shop the soup aisle forever. Let's start with what's sitting in your pantry right now. 12. Yorkshire Valley Farms Organic Chicken Noodle Soup. Starting at number 12, Yorkshire Valley Farms markets itself with organic claims and wholesome imagery, but the nutrition facts tell a concerning story. A single serving of their organic chicken noodle soup contains a staggering 1,180 milligrams of sodium in just under 400 milliliters. That's nearly half your entire recommended daily sodium intake in one bowl of soup. For adults approaching their later years, this level of sodium poses serious risks to blood pressure management and cardiovascular health. What makes this particularly frustrating is the organic positioning, creating a health halo effect. Many shoppers see that organic label and assume they're making the healthier choice, but excessive sodium remains excessive sodium, regardless of organic certification. The product page lists a lengthy ingredient panel despite the natural branding, and while the company claims no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives, they're still delivering sodium levels that undermine any potential organic benefits. For older Canadians managing hypertension or heart conditions, this soup represents a hidden danger wrapped in reassuring marketing. 11. Aylmer Soup Tomato Condensed Soup. At number 11, Aylmer carries decades of Canadian brand recognition, but familiarity doesn't guarantee quality ingredients. Their condensed tomato soup includes added sugar and thickening agents that transform simple tomatoes into a processed product quite different from homemade versions. The retail ingredient listing reveals refined oils and flour-based components that weren't part of traditional soup making when our grandparents were young. These additives serve production efficiency and shelf stability rather than nutritional value or authentic flavor. For many Canadians, Aylmer represents childhood memories and trusted tradition, which makes discovering these modern formula shortcuts feel like a betrayal of that legacy. The thickening agents create texture artificially rather than through patient simmering and natural ingredient reduction. Older adults watching their intake of processed ingredients and added sugars need to recognize that this isn't the simple tomato soup of previous generations. 10. Tim Hortons Tomato Condensed Soup. Moving to number 10, Tim Hortons extending their brand into grocery store soups brings the same concerns about ingredient quality that plague many restaurant-branded packaged goods. The retail ingredient listing for their condensed tomato soup includes added sugar and modified starch components that seem designed more for cost efficiency than nutritional value. These thickening agents create the appearance of richness without the substance of real ingredients simmered together naturally. The formula also includes refined oils and flour-based components that weren't necessary in traditional tomato soup preparation. For Canadians who trust the Tim Hortons name from their coffee and donut experiences, this grocery product represents a different kind of offering entirely. The added sugars contribute empty calories that older adults trying to manage weight and blood sugar should avoid. What's particularly concerning is how these ingredient shortcuts have become normalized in products carrying trusted Canadian brand names. 9. Heinz Tomato Soup. At number 9, Heinz Tomato Soup has been a Canadian pantry staple for generations, but that long history doesn't protect it from modern ingredient concerns. The ingredient list includes added sugar and thickening agents like modified cornstarch that change the nutritional profile significantly. A Canadian retailer listing shows this soup delivering 800 milligrams of sodium per serving, an amount that adds up quickly when you're trying to manage blood pressure or reduce salt intake. For older adults who grew up with Heinz as a trusted name, learning about these ingredient realities can feel disappointing. The added sugar seems unnecessary in a tomato-based product where the natural sweetness of tomatoes should provide sufficient flavor. Modified cornstarch serves as a cheap thickener, but lacks the nutritional value of ingredients that could create texture naturally through proper cooking technique. The sodium level means one bowl of Heinz tomato soup consumes a substantial portion of your daily recommended limit before you've even added crackers or a sandwich. 8. Habitant Traditional Pea Soup. Claiming the number 8 spot, Habitant's pea soup carries deep roots in Quebec culinary tradition, But the modern commercial version strays far from traditional recipes. The nutrition panel lists 830 milligrams of sodium per cup, transforming what should be a wholesome legume-based soup into a salt delivery system. The ingredient list includes multiple processed components, including added pork and seasoning blends that extend beyond simple split peas, vegetables, and natural seasonings. For French, Canadian families who remember grandparents making pea soup from scratch over hours of gentle simmering, this commercial version represents a significant departure from authentic tradition. Traditional pea soup derived its rich flavor from ham bones, fresh vegetables, and thyme, not from processed seasoning packets and excessive salt. The sodium content poses particular concerns for older adults managing cardiovascular health, turning a potentially nutritious legume-based meal into something requiring portion control and careful planning. 7. Knorr Cup Soup Chicken Noodle. At number 7, Knorr Cup Soup represents instant convenience, but delivers a concerning roster of additives and flavor enhancers. The nutrition panel lists 630 milligrams of sodium per single portion of just 12 grams of dry mix, meaning the actual prepared soup delivers substantial salt before you've had a proper meal. The ingredient list includes hydrolyzed proteins, yeast extract, and flavor enhancers, specifically disodium inosonate and disodium guanylate. These additives serve to amplify flavor artificially, compensating for the absence of real chicken broth and authentic ingredients. For older adults seeking quick meal solutions, these cup soups seem convenient and harmless, but the chemical flavor enhancement comes at a cost to both nutrition and ingredient quality. Hydrolyzed proteins are created through chemical processing that breaks down protein structures, quite different from proteins naturally present in real chicken. The flavor enhancers work on your taste receptors to make the soup seem richer and more satisfying than the actual ingredients justify. 6. Lipton Cup of Soup. Chicken noodle, moving into more serious territory at number 6. Lipton Cup of Soup packs multiple concerning additives into those convenient little packets. The ingredient list includes flavor enhancers MSG, disodium guanylate, and disodium inosonate, a trinity of additives designed to trick your taste buds into perceiving richness that isn't actually there. The formula also includes hydrolyzed proteins and silicon dioxide, an anti-caking agent that keeps the powder flowing freely during manufacturing and storage. For Canadians who remember when Lipton meant quality tea, seeing that trusted name on soup packets filled with synthetic flavor enhancers feels like a departure from the brand's heritage. MSG remains controversial despite industry assurances about safety, with many people reporting sensitivity reactions including headaches and digestive discomfort. Disodium guanylate and disodium inosonate work synergistically with MSG to amplify umami taste, making cheap ingredients seem more substantial than they actually are. What's particularly concerning for older adults is how these instant soups often replace real meals, meaning the cumulative exposure to these additives can become significant over time. 5. Progresso Traditional 99% Fat-Free Chicken Noodle. At number 5, Progresso Markets. Their traditional line with home-style imagery, but the ingredient list reveals anything but traditional soup making. The nutrition facts show 660 milligrams of sodium per cup, consuming over a quarter of your daily recommended sodium intake in what seems like a modest serving. The ingredient list includes modified food starch, maltodextrin, soy protein isolate, and sodium phosphate, a collection of additives that traditional chicken noodle soup never required. Modified food starch serves as a cheap thickener, creating body artificially rather than through properly made chicken stock simmered from bones. Maltodextrin acts as a filler and flavor carrier, adding to the ingredient list without adding nutritional value. Soy protein isolate represents highly processed soy stripped of its natural context, used to boost protein content on the nutrition label while adding a processed ingredient. For adults managing their health in their later years, these multiple additives represent unnecessary chemical exposure in something as fundamental as chicken noodle soup. 4. Campbell's Condensed Homestyle Chicken Noodle. At number 4, Campbell's Condensed Homestyle variety shows how even products with comforting names can hide concerning ingredient lists behind nostalgic marketing. The condensed format delivers 480 milligrams of sodium per half cup of concentrated soup, meaning a normal serving after dilution still provides substantial salt intake. The ingredient list includes SG, modified cornstarch, yeast extract, soy protein isolate, and sodium phosphate, transforming home-style chicken noodle into an industrial food product far removed from anything made in an actual home. MSG appears to enhance flavor, compensating for the absence of rich, slow-simmered chicken stock that would provide depth naturally. Modified cornstarch thickens the soup artificially, while yeast extract adds another layer of flavor enhancement through concentrated glutamates. Soy protein isolate boosts protein content on the nutrition panel, but represents highly processed soy, quite different from whole soybeans. For Canadians who remember Campbell's as a trusted household name, discovering this roster of additives in a product labeled homestyle feels like a profound disconnect between marketing and reality. 3. Campbell's Condensed Chicken Noodle Soup. Claiming the number 3 spot, Campbell's original condensed chicken noodle represents perhaps the most iconic soup in Canadian grocery stores. But that familiarity has allowed concerning ingredients to hide in plain sight. The condensed format lists 760 milligrams of sodium per half cup of concentrate, delivering massive salt content even before you consider a full serving. The ingredient list includes additives such as MSG and sodium phosphate, chemicals serving industrial production efficiency rather than nutrition or authentic flavor. For generations of Canadians, Campbell's condensed soup has meant comfort, quick meals, during illness, and reliable pantry staples, which makes these ingredient realities feel almost like a betrayal of trust. MSG enhances flavor artificially, making up for the absence of real chicken stock made from simmering bones with vegetables and herbs for hours. Sodium phosphate modifies texture and serves as a preservative, allowing these soups to sit on shelves for months without refrigeration. The sodium content poses particular dangers for older adults managing blood pressure, where this much salt in a single serving can undermine an entire day of careful dietary management. 2. Campbell's Chunky Chicken Noodle. Coming in at number 2, Campbell's chunky varieties market themselves as hearty, meal-worthy soups, but they deliver concerning sodium alongside those bigger vegetable pieces. The nutrition label for chunky chicken noodle lists 830 milligrams of sodium per single cup, an amount that leaves very little room for any other sodium intake throughout your day if you're following medical advice about salt restriction. The ingredient list includes modified food starch and various flavoring agents that create consistency and taste across massive production volumes. Modified food starch appears again as a cheap thickener, replacing the natural body that real chicken stock would provide through collagen extracted during proper stock making. For adults in their later years who may turn to these chunky soups as easy, filling meals, the sodium content represents a serious cardiovascular risk hiding behind satisfying portions. One can of chunky soup, which many people would eat as a complete meal, delivers over half the daily sodium recommendation in a single sitting. 1. Kirkland's Signature Chicken Tortilla Soup. Taking the number 1 spot as the most concerning Canadian soup brand, Kirkland's Signature earns this position not just for ingredients, but for a documented regulatory failure that breaks consumer trust completely. The USDA Food Safety and Inspection Service issued a public health alert stating that Kirkland's Signature Chicken Tortilla Soup, labeled as gluten-free, may have been misbranded because it actually contained gluten. This isn't speculation or opinion. This is a documented government regulatory action tied directly to the product. For people with celiac disease or serious gluten sensitivity, consuming this soup thinking it was safe could trigger severe health reactions, intestinal damage, and serious illness. The fact that a major retailer like Costco, selling products under their Kirkland Signature brand that millions of Canadians trust, could allow this kind of labeling failure represents a profound breakdown in quality control and consumer protection. Gluten-free labeling isn't a casual marketing claim. It's a critical safety designation that people with medical conditions rely upon absolutely. For older adults managing multiple health conditions and dietary restrictions, being able to trust food labels isn't a luxury. It's a necessity for safety and health management. After exposing these 12 brands hiding excessive sodium, synthetic additives, and even labeling failures, you deserve to know that better options exist. Not every soup manufacturer has sacrificed quality for profit margins and production efficiency. These next 5 brands prove that soup can still be made with integrity, using real ingredients and traditional approaches that honor both nutrition and authentic flavor. After exposing these 12 brands hiding excessive sodium, synthetic additives, and even labeling failures, you deserve to know that better options exist. Not every soup manufacturer has sacrificed quality for profit margins and production efficiency. These next 5 brands prove that soup can still be made with integrity, using real ingredients and traditional approaches that honor both nutrition and authentic flavor. 5. Health Valley Organic Chicken Rice Soup. No salt added. Starting our safer list at number 5, Health Valley delivers on their health-focused name with organic soup built around recognizable whole food ingredients. The ingredient list for their organic chicken rice soup shows water, organic carrots, organic rice, organic chicken, organic celery, and other organic staples you could purchase yourself and combine in your own kitchen. The organic certification means these ingredients were grown without synthetic pesticides, herbicides, or genetically modified seeds, providing peace of mind about agricultural chemical exposure. The no salt added positioning makes this soup particularly valuable for older adults managing blood pressure or following sodium-restricted diets recommended by their healthcare providers. You control the seasoning, adding exactly the amount of salt your dietary needs allow, rather than being forced to accept whatever sodium level the manufacturer chose. 4. Imagine Foods Organic Creamy Tomato Basil Soup. At number 4, Imagine Foods creates organic soups that taste like they came from a home kitchen rather than an industrial facility. Their organic creamy tomato basil soup features an ingredient list dominated by organic vegetables and organic tomato ingredients, marked clearly to show their certified organic status. This explicit organic positioning means independent certifiers have verified that these ingredients meet strict standards for how they were grown, processed, and handled throughout production. The creamy texture comes from organic ingredients rather than from modified starches or synthetic thickeners that cheaper soups rely upon. For older Canadians who remember when tomato soup meant opening a can of tomatoes and simmering them with fresh basil and cream, Imagine Foods delivers flavors that actually resemble that memory. 3. Amy's Organic Soups. Claiming the number 3 spot, Amy's has built their entire brand reputation on organic, vegetarian products made with simple, recognizable ingredients. Their soup varieties consistently show USDA organic positioning, meaning these products meet federal organic standards verified through regular inspection and testing. The ingredient panels for Amy's organic soups typically list actual food ingredients, vegetables, grains, and legumes, rather than the modified starches, flavor enhancers, and chemical additives found in conventional soups. For health-conscious Canadians, Amy's represents a brand you can trust without scrutinizing every label, because their commitment to organic ingredients extends across their entire product range. The organic certification ensures these soups contain no synthetic pesticides, no genetically modified ingredients, and no artificial preservatives that serve shelf life over health. 2. Sprague Organic Lentil Soup with Vegetables. At number 2, Sprague demonstrates that commercial soup can still be made with the same simple ingredients you'd use in your own kitchen. Their organic lentil soup with vegetables lists water, lentils, vegetables, olive oil, sea salt, and spices as the complete ingredient panel. Every single item is something you recognize, something you could purchase at a farmer's market or grocery store and combine yourself. The organic lentils provide plant-based protein and fiber without pesticide residues from conventional lentil farming. Organic vegetables mean the carrots, celery, and other produce were grown without synthetic chemicals that accumulate in your body over years of consumption. What makes Sprague particularly reassuring is their transparency about packaging, explicitly stating their commitment to BPA-free cans that don't leach hormone-disrupting chemicals into your soup. 1. Pacific Foods Organic Lightly Salted Chicken and Wild Rice Soup. Taking the number 1 spot as the absolute best soup choice available to Canadians, Pacific Foods Organic Lightly Salted Chicken and Wild Rice Soup represents everything that soup should be. The product carries USDA certified organic status, verified by independent certifiers, who regularly inspect the farming practices, ingredient sourcing, and production facilities to ensure compliance with strict organic standards. Every ingredient in this soup qualifies as non-GMO, meaning no genetically modified corn, soy, or other crops that dominate conventional food production. The nutrition facts list just 320 milligrams of sodium per cup, delivering satisfying flavor while leaving room for other foods throughout your day without exceeding healthy sodium limits. The lightly salted designation means this soup contains 50% less sodium than their regular version, specifically designed for people managing blood pressure or following medical advice about salt restriction. For older adults who remember when soup meant nutrition and comfort rather than chemical exposure and sodium overload, Pacific Foods delivers authentic soup that actually supports your health goals. The wild rice provides whole grain nutrition and earthy flavor that processed white rice can't match. There you have it, 12 Canadian soup brands hiding excessive sodium, synthetic additives, and even regulatory failures behind trusted names and comforting imagery. Plus 5 brands that actually deliver real nutrition with ingredients you can feel good about. Before your next grocery run, take 30 seconds to read the ingredient panel and nutrition facts. Choose organic when possible, and remember that the lowest price often reflects the lowest quality ingredients. If this information changed how you'll shop for soup, share it with friends and family who deserve to know what they're really eating, and subscribe for more content exposing the truth about